It's off. Should be off.
No, it's on, we can hear it.
What's on?
There's music. There's very quiet, gentle music.
That's all.
Sorry, come back. Good evening to you all.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
Good night and goodbye.
I'm so used to doing the evening ones. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Well, that raised the vibrations, didn't it? And good afternoon to all those online. And hi, Laurie, because I know you're watching. So we're going to have a jolly afternoon. So anyway, welcome to Paul Church. And this afternoon we have our wonderful friend, Mark Stone. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Tony.
I know we're going to have a lovely service. Shall we get going? I think that's everything we need to do.
Yep.
Yes. So I'll ask Mark for the opening prayer.
Lovely.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Tony. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if we can just for a moment just close our eyes, but open our hearts and minds into that prayer space and state of mind. Gracious and divine Spirit, as we join together this afternoon, allow us to step aside from daily life. Allow us to step into the peace, the stillness and the healing power of this moment and the healing power of this place. Allow us in this time, as we set aside our thoughts of daily life, to start to reflect upon the power of the Spirit that is within each and every one of us, and the power of the Spirit that exists in all humanity, and the power of the Spirit of those who come to be with us from that spirit world, that summer land. And allow us to be aware of that connection as we call out and reach out in our hearts and minds to our loved ones as they draw close, to be with us in this moment, wherever we are, to bring us our strength, that love, that support, to bring us guidance and inspiration and healing. And let us, as we sit here this afternoon, send out our thoughts into the world, to all people, to all places. We especially send our thoughts, our love and our healing to those families in Texas, to the people of the Ukraine and Sri Lanka, to people throughout all this world who are in need of love and light. Allow us in this time to be a channel for healing as we unite here together for this service of love, for this service of light. And so, as always, we place ourselves and our service in your care and keeping, knowing that all that is said and done in the truth, the love and the light of spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. Now please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not when in temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. We now go into that part of our service where we send out our love and healing to all those that we know, to our family, our friends, and send it also around the world to wherever you feel you want to send it. We're all capable of this love, sending out. Doesn't matter to whom or to where, and include your animal friends, because we all need this love and support of each other. So we just sit quietly for a moment or two. Dear Father, Divine Spirit, we thank you for the love surrounding us. We thank you for the love surrounding our loved ones and those we have in our thoughts. We ask you to continue to care for them as they go through their daily life. We thank you for the love and the healing given and the healing received. And I leave each one in your care. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for that. It was lovely. I now ask Mark for his reading, his address, philosophy, whatever he's decided this afternoon. Thank you, Mark.
Lovely, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to read for you two short pieces that are from Harry Edwards. There is Healing Prayer and his Sanctuary Prayer, but I'm going to read them as one. May I be thankful for all the blessings I already have. Grant me relief from pain and sickness, and protect me from all ills, and grant me good health in days to come. Remove all causes of imperfection, and bring thy healing ministers close to me, that I may be conscious of their presence, and so receive their guidance and inspiration. Grant me courage and fortitude to overcome all adversity. Let me be conscious of thy strength in all times of need. Grant me confidence to overcome my fears and not to anticipate harm. Teach me how to live rightly in thy sight, to do only that which is right and true. I pray that good guidance and right influencing will inspire all thy people to be as brothers, one to the other, and that peace shall endure for all time. I surrender myself to the good influences of your healing ministers in spirit, that through your divine healing power, the disharmonies within me might be overcome, and that the stresses of mind and of body be erased and lessened day by day. Help me to adopt a more positive and helpful way of thought, bringing me closer into harmony with those around me and with the divine healing purpose. And for those who are sick or in darkness of despair, who do not know of that help that can reach them from spirit, I pray that awareness will come to them soon, that they might too experience the upliftment of spirit that can lead us all through harmony towards true health. Now, I chose those two prayers really because I wasn't sure where to find an appropriate reading for today, because when I woke this morning, I saw the news about what had gone on in Texas, and I heard from the spirit world as I sat there and sent out prayers, and I heard the term, an injury to one is an injury to all. And I thought, how interesting. And I went and did a little research because I heard the saying but didn't know where it came from. And it came very much from the union movement of bringing people together for unions to support and protect each other. And so I sort of sat for a little while and I said to the spirit world, but how is this part of what we're touching on today, of what we're experiencing today on a spiritual level? And I started to become aware that when we talk about ourselves, although we are wonderful, amazing, unique individuals, we are part of one stupendous whole. And God is the spirit and the soul that unites and binds us all together, that we are here in this experience together as one. That everything that goes on in this world is all intertwined. Nothing is really separate. Although you might feel that your life and your experience is a very separate one to everyone else's, the influence of the world can be felt by all of us. Look at the past few years that we have gone through, that we have been affected in so many different ways by the experiences through COVID. That as we have moved through those times, the different way in which things have touched us and affected us, and the way that we look at situations in the world and can feel them so deeply. But as I was thinking on this, and I thought, well, it's very interesting that you hear a lot of people say, well, I'm so sensitive that everything overwhelms me and I can't cope. And possibly one of the downsides of being more aware and more sensitive can sometimes be that we become overly sensitized to the world, overly responsive to what goes on in the world. When we see things, we've all said it, haven't we? My heart goes out to them. And the minute that we see something, we feel this pull. we feel this yearning as if we wish we could help, or we feel this yearning and then suddenly feel powerless. But within our awareness, we know that we're not powerless. Just as we sat there and sent healing, that healing power goes out into the world. But it's also to recognise it's more than just healing that we need to consider. Obviously, when something occurs and we see it in the news or we hear something from a friend, we can send out that thought of healing. But I was thinking back to that expression that I kept hearing, an injury to one is an injury to all. And I suddenly thought of the human body. And when there's an injury to a part of the body, the rest of the body kicks in to help, to support, to heal, to compensate for the damage that is there. And then I started to be aware that that's what those of us with that sensitivity and awareness are here to do. That it's not just about the thoughts of healing that we send out, but the power and the energy that we put out into the world by our thought and our deed and our care and our words and our thoughts and our actions. Because a prayer for healing and a prayer for support is wonderful. But actually, if we think of the whole of the world as a body, and one part of the body is injured, that power is being connected and working all the time. So that our thoughts, our awareness of these things in the world, it's not just about us asking for hope, and not just about us asking for healing or for peace, which I've spoken about here before, but also about being the power that generates hope and light and the potential for the healing, even if we're in a totally different part of the world, even if we're so far out of reach of these things. Because as we move into that power, we're in that power every day. We're not separate from it. We're not separate from this world. Neither is the spirit world separate from this world. That our thoughts, our feelings, the way that we respond, the way that we react is changing the energy within this world. So it's how we hold space in this world, how we hold our energy and our power. Do we allow the things that we see to bring us down and break us? Or do we apply what we know and allow ourselves to be the part of that body, the part of the world that generates hope, that generates positivity in spite of, that brings light into the darkness of what we see? Because it's so easy to get caught up, and a lot of times I've had conversations with people and they start a conversation or we talk about something and say, isn't the world terrible? And I go, no. There are some terrible things that happen in the world, but the world isn't terrible. Humanity in its entirety isn't terrible. There's some shocking people about, but they're part of the whole system. They're part of the whole experience of life. We come to live life, to experience the extremes of life. We come to life to experience all manner of emotion, all manner of situation, all manner of experience. If we came here and it was all just jolly and happy and easy, God, although we might think from our point of view, wouldn't that be lovely? We would be bored out of our skulls, and what would we learn? Nothing. There we go, nothing. I love interactive audience. Nothing, absolutely. Shout out when you're ready. That's lovely, thank you. But we wouldn't. Because often it's through the things that have challenged us that bring us growth. Think of spiritualism. For many, not all, but for many, the loss of a partner, the loss of a child, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a friend, whoever it may be, makes a search for whether there is life after death, whether that is a truth. Through that difficulty and that inevitable experience, because none of us are spared having to deal with death. None of us. It's touched all of us at some level in some way. And when we look at the things that go on in the world, it makes people change to look at things. And recently I was talking to some students about the idea of how out of bad things come good things as part of, what we may refer to as serendipity. Things that change and alter and that bring us into a better state of affairs through something that isn't so great or seen as being so great. And I said, that's the same as when we went into COVID. I said, all of a sudden, people like Lawrence turned on cameras and broadcast not just to the people of Poole who couldn't get here physically, but to potentially everyone who was searching within the world. Out of great adversity came a great strength and a great opening up to different things. Those of you who came searching to the spiritualist churches hopefully found something that started to answer questions or make you feel like you had come home and that things started to make sense. But one of those things that those of you who have started to look at your development and to work on your self-awareness and spirituality know that for every question you answer, there's 100 more that takes its place. Because as soon as you go, well, if that's true, then what about this? And there's another question and another question and another question. Because that's the drive for knowledge and experience and learning. And so as we're in this world, as we're part of it, we cannot just say that something else is somebody else's problem alone, but that we're all part of it, but we all can affect it in different ways. There may be those people who go out to be action people, that when there's a problem in a place in the world, they decide to go out there and physically be of service to others. There are those who maybe feel that they can't go and do that, but they'll support financially or with donations, or there will be other people who send out their thoughts. Everybody contributing in their own different and varied way. All of the parts of the body working together. All of the cells in the body working together. And so we, with our understanding of energy, know that this goes even deeper than a physical act. That a thought, that an emotion, that a power is massive. That love and gratitude and healing and forgiveness are so needed in the times that we find ourselves in now. It's very easy, if we didn't have our awareness, and even if we do have our awareness, to start taking sides. I can remember a student saying to me once, I said, how are you getting on with your healing? And he said, I'm getting on great doing the healing for the people that deserve it. And my comment then was, well, who died and made you God? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, who are you to say who deserves healing and not? Because it sounds like you're sitting in judgment on who someone is and what someone has done. Because if we know and understand that to do things in this world that are not pleasant, that are destructive, that are aggressive, that is hateful, comes from a place of imbalance. And therefore there is a need for healing there. There is a need for the healing of the mind, the healing of the spirit, whatever it may be. It's easy to think of sending that healing to the people who have suffered at the hands of another. But have you considered how much the person who causes that trouble is in need of healing? Part of the same whole, not separate from. And that as we sit and as we look at the world, we're part of that mechanism, we're part of that power. And so to actually sit and say to ourselves, I'm going to be the light and the support in this world. I'm not going to allow, like little lights flicking off all across the world, I'm not going to allow my light to be dimmed thinking there's no point, because what can I do? And that's how we become disempowered. It's how we become disengaged. It's how we become desensitized, because we start to pull away thinking there's nothing I can do, and yet we're still part of that chain of energy and power, and by pulling it away, we're only allowing it to be worse, because we're taking away the potential for that healing, that light, that power. But, as I said to you earlier, the people that say, I'm so sensitive, I find it all overwhelming, you do not have to take it in like a sponge. Awareness doesn't mean we have to take it on board, we have to take it within us, we have to become bogged down. It's a natural part of being a healer. Those of you that have looked into healing, before you knew about healing, did you find that wherever you were, people would suddenly start to open up to you and tell you their problems? You could be on a bus and the person who sits next to you, and you say, oh, where are you going? And then they open up and tell you all about their family problems and their life and and then they're there. Noticed that before? And then you suddenly say, well, why me? Because the light within you that has that natural healing power brings those people towards you because they feel safe in your presence. My mates always used to laugh. We'd go on holiday and I could be at a bar, they'd leave me for 5 minutes while I'm having a drink, and they'd come back and someone would be crying next to me. And they'd go, how do you do that? How do they find you? And I said, because wherever you are, that light that you are, that power that you are is there with you. And even though you may have to say nothing to someone, the minute they come into the light and that power, they recognise that they are safe. Safe to express, safe to talk, safe to open up, because they recognise the natural healing power that is there within you. So in fact, it's a compliment, not a curse. But when you see the things that go on in the world, the mindset is, I'm here to be the antidote, the antibiotic, if you like, for the situations in life. I will sit and send my healing. I will talk of hope. When I talk to people, I won't go, oh yes, you're right, it's terrible and it's awful and there's nothing and it's always good. We're adding to that power. And actually say, do you know what? This will pass, this will move, this will change. There will be help, there will be support, there will be better times ahead, because there always have been. We always come through the other side of things. And if you think about it, knowing what we know, even when we leave this earth, we will carry on and find a better world and a better way and a better experience. So even beyond this earth, we still carry on to live, to learn, to explore, to expand. So let us put our minds and our thoughts not just to the odd healing prayer, but to making our daily life, whatever we are doing, a mindful one, that we're bringing joy and light into the world for others, that we're holding a torch of hope and light for maybe those people who at this moment don't see it. Think of those people in Texas at the moment. Today must seem like there is no hope and what a dark world. But they are not alone, because they are part of our world, and we send our thoughts and our love to them. The same with the people of the Ukraine, the people of Sri Lanka, the people all over the world, even that we don't know that are struggling, the people in our own country who are starting to decide how are they going to live, how are they going to survive. We believe in the power of our love, change and transformation. Let us as spiritualists, as spiritual people, put our money where our mouth is, start to walk the talk and be a force for good in all that we do and that we say. Don't get drowned into the negativity. Don't become disempowered by what a terrible world. It's a wonderful world, but there are just quite a few plonkers in it. Rodney. And it's true. If you think of your life, you can have 100 people compliment you, or 99 people compliment you, and one person says something negative, and I can bet you'll talk about the one person for a lot longer than the other 99 who like you. Any of you worked in retail? What do you harp on about the most? Not the nice customers. God, I had this woman today. Don't we? Because we hold on to the negative and we forget how wonderful the rest is. Look at the world around you. Look at the people around you. Realise how lucky and how wonderful this world really is. And realise that you are a wonderful part of it. And without you, this world would feel different to everyone else. Every single person is a part of this stupendous whole. each with their part to play. So let your light shine for others when their light is dim. Become the torch that other people light their light from when they feel like theirs has gone out. In word, in deed, in thought. Be a light to the world, to combat the darkness, to combat the negativity, and know that in your times when something threatens to dim your light, others will draw around you in just the same way to bring their light to you, just as you have done for others. I'll leave those thoughts with you and say good afternoon.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. You can't follow that, can you? So thank you again, Mark. Right, we now go into our hymn, and the collection plate will come around. Now let me see if I can do the technology.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Positive thinking.
Here we are, joyful, joyful.
Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, owning to the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the dark of doubt away. Giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. All thy works rejoice around thee, earth and heaven reflect thy rays. Stars and angels sing around thee, center of unbroken praise. Field and forest, vale and mountain, flowery meadow, flashing sea, chanting bird and flowing fountain, call us to rejoice in thee. Thou art giving and forgiving, ever blessing, ever blessed, wellspring of the joy of living, ocean depth of happy rest. Thou the Father, Christ our brother, all who live in love are thine. Teach us how to love each other, lift us to the joy divine. Mortals join the mighty chorus, which the morning stars began. Father, love is reigning o'er us, brother, love binds man to man. Ever singing, march we onward, victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music lifts us onward, in the triumph songs of life.
Oh, I managed it. So thank you for that. Thank you, Paul. And thank you to all those that have given to the church. So thank you again. So now I'm going to hand the service back to Mark for his evidential messages. And obviously, as Laurie says, we need your yeses and your replies. So let's have a practice.
Yes. No.
Well done. He's training us well.
Lovely. So as many of you know, every medium works differently and every message and contact is unique in its own way as well. Just as we said, we're all unique beings. So if something that I'm saying, if I've not gone direct to someone, but I've got information and it makes sense to you, please put your hand up and say yes. It doesn't matter if more than one of you puts your hand up for something. We'll never send you home with someone who doesn't belong to you. So you're not going to take someone else's relative home, because I'd never hear the end of it from Spirit. So I was aware, and this gentleman came to me earlier when I was sitting out in the medium's room, and I'm aware of a man in the spirit world, and he loved his music, but I'm particularly aware of him listening to Maria Callas, the opera singer. And I know that this gentleman would have spent a lot of time listening to records, and he would have had a sort of a prize collection of records here that he would listen to. And I feel that there may be a love of more than just Maria Callas, but I know that into opera and classical this man's very drawn. But something makes me feel with him that he either played music or was involved with music when he was younger, because this love of music is much deeper than just I enjoy sitting listening to it. But I know this man spends a lot of time in the latter part of his life. He'd rather put a record on than put the box in the corner of the room on. Would that make sense to anyone? Not one of you. Interesting. Okay. I know that this gentleman lived on, I feel he lives on his own. So he's not, his partner has either passed a period of time before him. You understand, okay. And I hear this man saying, although I'm alone, I'm not lonely, because I feel as if my records and everything else are my company. My music is my company. Would you understand about the having a connection with either playing or being involved in music when younger? Because this man's so quiet. He's the complete opposite of me. I'm a chatterbox, and he'd almost sit there and let me talk, and then that would be the end of our conversation almost. And that's how I feel he is, that if you're around him, you could have a conversation, but he's not a chatty chatterbox, okay? Because as he came in, I was in that stillness in the back and reading that healing prayer, and he drew close. And I know that as he does that, I know he understands about the healing power of music. That's his therapy. That's his way of easing the emotion that is there, because again, he never talked about how he felt. You'd know if he wasn't in a good space, because you could feel it, but he wouldn't necessarily always express it. He'd say, well, I'm fine, I'm all right, really. And he'd try and alleviate some of that emotional side. Do you understand that? Yeah. Because there is this sense of, you know, I'm on my own, but I'm not lonely. But I know at the core of him at times, he wished he could express that more, okay? But I think he's one of those people that doesn't want to make people feel like they have to spend time with him. Do you understand that some people sort of say, oh no, you go and do your, I'm fine, you go, because I've done what I needed to do in this world, and I want you to do the same, okay? And when he says that, would you understand that, I know that all during this period of time, we've had to take a lot more care of people and focus on other people's needs, but would you understand where it feels like at times we've been not overburdened, but we've started to realise how we've taken on a lot of other people's stuff, okay? And because I have this feeling of him saying not to lose the sight of oneself. He has a lovely way of talking as well. When he uses words, they're impactful. You know, oneself rather than you. Oneself. And there's this lovely gentle nature that comes in with this. But I know I need to say to you, this is now, from his advice really, it's now time to start focusing back to number one and starting to think of your own needs within this, okay? Doesn't mean that you can just drop everybody else, because that's not how you would be. But you've started to have that moment where you've thought, hang on a second, you know, I'm running out of steam with things, okay? So he's aware of that and bringing that in. That's why he brought that focus when we were doing the healing prayer, bringing that strength, bringing that peace around you, okay? And around the others around you as well. Let me just check I've not moved, because I've got a really... Did he also have a connection with teaching? No, because I'm aware of a teaching influence that's coming in here, and talking about teaching. Is teaching placed around you then?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's fine. Because he's just talking about, I kept feeling as if I've got to teach, I've got to show people, I've got to explain to people. And I also feel with this, you know, when we talked about, again, helping other people, there is this sense of saying that there are other things. I don't mean what you've done in the past necessarily, but there are other things that you are meant to teach still in the future. And I know this is to do with healing and supporting each other, so on more a spiritual side of things. You understand that?
Yeah.
Because I feel as if it's almost like we've done the younger people, now we've got to do the younger kids within the older people and help them, okay? Because we're all in that need, and I feel this is what he's drawing my attention to, okay? So you'll be like, he would put on the music to help ease the pain. There will be other things that you do that help and heal and support, okay? Would you know who Violet is that he would know?
Yes.
Okay, because I just as he was putting away, just talked to Violet.
It's fine, really.
It's fine, okay. I know we shorten, but he's the sort of person that would love the word,
Yeah,
because the word's more, Violet is more pretty than Vi. Yeah, that's how he sees it. So he would use people's longer Christian names rather than shorten them, because he thought of the beauty of words. You know, it'd be like Christopher rather than Chris. You know, it's that kind of, he likes the words and loves that. Although he's focused on the music, he keeps bringing me back to his love of words as well. He keeps bringing me back to words. Words are important. And I know here that just as he says that, do you still physically write to people rather than just type an email?
I do write to
You do, yeah. Because he's just showing me this and he's saying how important and how different handwritten is to receiving something like that. Because there's the essence of the person, the love of the person that comes in. And he said, although we take the time to write that, it feels like there's something more personal, more meaningful, more impactful. And so he's seen what's been written as well recently.
Right.
Okay, your words are important. Your words mean a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, mate? No, I'm just seeing him get another Maria Callas out. I've said what I wanted to say. I'm putting my favourite back on now, and that's I'm just going to sit there, close my eyes, and just sit and be in the middle of the orchestra conducting for her. Okay, so let me leave his love with you, and that affection. And remember what you said. You know, do think of number one still. All right, I like him. He's very quiet though. He's made my energy like this. I want to go to sleep now because he's just literally. I could just sit, listen to music, and drift off for hours, and that's how I feel now. So let's see where we are. All right, sweetheart. Okay. I'm aware of a lady with me, and I'm going from one personality type to a very different one. This lady's very quizzical of all of this. She's fascinated by this, but I don't think she was involved in it. And I know that this lady, when she's here, she's showing me... Okay, that's interesting. My lady sat at the back. You don't know somebody who used to like work in an antique shop or run an antique shop?
Not at first thinking.
Not at first thinking, okay. Because I've got a lady here and she's showing me all this wooden furniture. And I don't see it in a home. I see it in like a shop setting. And I kept feeling as if I was being drawn to you in that moment. But I feel that there's this lady, and everything that she does is to do with antiques and wooden furniture. I mean, you know, brown wood furniture's making a comeback, so are the 60s kitchen sinks. But I know she's talking about all this, but she wouldn't have been involved in spiritualism. She wouldn't have been into any of this sort of thing at all. But everything to do with her life was always about sort of the buying and selling of furniture and antiques. Would anyone understand this? A lady who would have had an antique shop or something similar? Maybe. I like a maybe. A maybe's fine. But you'd understand that this lady, I feel not only would I have had at one point a shop or being in a shop where all this furniture is, but also I'm going to places like markets or flea markets and things like that as well, because I'm a bit the same. When I used to work in a bookshop, you'd find me everywhere where there was a second-hand bookshop, because it was all in my head. And with her is the same with this furniture, with I say knickknacks, but they're not chintzy things, they're things that are particular. She's looking for particular pieces. It's not just anything and everything, it's particular in what she gets. So that makes sense to you?
Again,
Again?
maybe.
We'll find you. If anyone else understands this, speak up, because if he stays on maybe, you can steal. There we go. That's lovely. Okay, that's fine, because maybes don't quite cut it. So you'd understand this with going around and all these, but particular pieces, particular things. Lovely. There you go. So there we are. So we are back with you. That's lovely. So for the people at home, we're back with the first person again. So because I get this feeling that I find this fascinating since I've been over in the spirit world. So I feel this lady's kind of watched what you've been up to and has then found it rather fascinating. And because she's talking to me about, you know, when you get a piece of furniture, you kind of get the provenance and where it's from and what it's from and who did it and who designed. And it's almost like she said, God, if I'd have known about all of this, she said, I could have probably gone, ooh, and then found out all about it. And because she said it would have been a lot easier than having to turn it over, tip it, look for certain things. Because she said I could just found out by feel, couldn't I? But she has this lovely sense of humour. There's a real, if I say quirkiness about her, I don't mean that rudely. It's just her personality and her way, because she is just a complete antique and furniture nerd and she loves it. And that's just what she lives and breathes. And I feel that as she's bringing this in and as she's talking about all this furniture, it kind of feels, you know, as I just said at the beginning, about everything always comes back into fashion. That nothing ever really, if you keep something long enough, you'll be wearing it again, or you'll be, you know, people will want it again. But I have to say that I get this feeling from her that when it comes to spiritualism, it's been a bit like that, where you've gone in and come out and gone in and come out a bit. And so we're back in one of those cycles where we've come back in and we're back in that flow of it again, and we're feeling the draw to it again. Does that make sense to you? Because it's almost like not just her, but others in the spirit world. I know that they're with us every day, and I know that you know that. But there is the great joyous feeling of the spirit world feeling your involvement again. Okay? And I don't know why then, okay. But have you recently either been looking at getting new furniture, or have you been looking at old furniture? Both, okay, because she's been with you then. So you've had your own antiques advisor following you around, because there's this lovely feeling of looking at these bits of furniture and looking at things. And so you're, at some points, maybe your mind's wandered to her, maybe it hasn't. But I know that there is this feeling that she's been very much around because of that activity. Coming and having a little look, coming and having a little inspection with you. And she was very good at telling people when something was worth nought. If something, she'd say, not a penny, nothing for it, you know. But then when she was going around, she could find a bargain like that, and she'd go, now that's going to have that, that's brilliant. So I know that there is this sense, as she talks about this. Okay. Would you, and again, not opening up personal things when we talk about this, but would you understand where she said you've had to, on a spiritual level, really look at sorting the wheat from the chaff of people, situations and what's said? And it's literally that just can go, because it's taking up mental and emotional space in here. Now we're down to the real treasures. And she's showing me a few things out on a table. Did she have a particular interest in, oh God, what's the Moorcroft?
Probably.
Okay, because I'm seeing the lovely little Moorcroft vases, the little tiny, almost like spill vases and things, and I'm seeing the peony collection that's being put there. And again, it would be like just finding these little nuggets, these little treasures. But I also know, please, that you've come back to the reading of things as well. You have, I know. Well, she knows. I don't know. She knows. Because she's saying we're getting nuggets out of them now that we never got from them before. We're hearing them in a different way. We're seeing them in a different way. We're reading them in a different way. And so it's amazing how everything comes back, and then we realise the value of it, where at one point everyone was almost throwing it out. And I know that at one point when she says that, you must have let go of your books.
Yes.
Because she's saying they're all coming back in from other sources now. So get ready to stack your bookcases out again, okay? But I just know that as she says all of that, that they're just so pleased. And it's just like, this is like just a welcome back from the spirit world for you. We're there with you, we're behind you. And it's not to tell you to go in any particular direction. You know, I don't always like it when mediums start saying you ought to do this and you ought to be doing that. Because I think that we almost push people if we're not careful. But here is just such an excitement. You're back. Okay? You're back. Did you also please know somebody? Oh, okay, this may be a memory rather than know somebody. Do you have memories of somebody that used to do one-man band thing, where they'd have all the instruments on them?
I don't have a memory, but you've given me a very clear image in my head.
Yeah, because I'm just aware of. But I feel that you, if it's,
I think it's symbolic.
it may be symbolic. But however, I've got a feeling of actually seeing this person physically. So we may have a link from you to something else. But I just have this. I'm gonna keep hold of him because I can feel him physically, not just as an image. But I know that when we think about being the one-man band, we think we have to do it all ourselves. And sometimes on a spiritual pathway, we push everyone else aside, everything else aside, and think I've just got to do it myself. But actually, the spirit world's always there anyway. Okay. So let me leave their love with you, and their excitement that you're back. Would someone understand that about somebody who would have literally done the one-man band, like the big drum on the thing and the cymbals between the legs? Oh, got to be careful how you do that. It's dangerous. But somebody that would have actually done that. Nobody knows that. Okay. Because I'm just aware that maybe it's just the image, but I'm aware of... Can I just ask you, you didn't used to go down and walk through Bournemouth Gardens like 20, 30 odd plus years ago?
No, I only recently moved here.
Okay, because there used to be a guy in Bournemouth Square who used to do that. And he used to be in the middle of the square, but like back in the 80s. And I'm just kind of aware of that kind of era. Let me just ask, if I take you back to that period of time, can you think back to where there would have been someone who did that? Because I keep feeling as if I'm walking past someone doing all of that, and you don't have memory of that.
I'm a nurse and I need a lot
To people. No, I want the actual seeing it, seeing someone doing it. Bear with me 1 second. Christine, you don't understand a connection with someone doing the one-man band.
The only one I can think of is Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins.
I was just about to say something which I won't say there. Okay. No. Okay. Let me leave it with you. But I was kind of aware of this man being here, and there should have been memories of him. But maybe if you hold the thought and thinking, don't worry. Their minds are much keener than ours. And when we meet loads of people, like we do in churches, you can't remember everyone, but they still remember how we touched our lives, their lives, if you make sense. So, but let me leave it with you anyway, okay? And let me leave it with you. I'm not normally one that says go away and take it away and think about it. Okay, would you also know of going back about working with someone who would have, or cared for someone who was an artist and would have had easels out? Right, go back to that time. There were other people around them who were musical and artistic as well. It wasn't just the one person.
Right.
Think back at that time, okay? Because I just asked where it would place, and then I was shown like an easel being out on a side and painting in progress and things like that. So go back to then and have a think around there, okay? So something to take away and think. So I'll leave that with you and say God bless. Okay. Okay. I'm thinking I've moved from you, but I'm hearing the name Minnie called out, Min. But I feel that I've got a lady with me here, and this lady, bless her heart, she reminds me of my relatives that live up north, because I'm seeing this lady with a hairnet on, and almost the typical, you know, the Ina Sharples period of Coronation Street, how the ladies would have dressed then. I'm aware of this lady, Minnie, and I know that this lady would have been, if not from the north, had very much that kind of working woman around the factory kind of feel with her. Who would understand that? No, we're going to find you. We'll find you. But I don't feel here as if I'm from the north. Now, the problem is when I talk about geography, I don't know where I'm talking about in the world. But I kind of get the feeling, would somebody here have had family that would have come from the sort of the Nottingham area and where shoes and things were being produced? You do. Anyone else? No? Shoes. Okay. So you don't understand where this name of Minnie would come in, where this lady would have been working either in a factory or connecting.
Good friend called Minnie.
You've got a good friend called Minnie. Okay. Right. So let's put, because I'm seeing a woman, so let me put the Minnie here to one side. But then, would you know where there would be then photos where I would see a lady? She's only like this. She's only 5 foot if she's anything. She's a dot. But she's got this hairnet and everything. Feel the hairs to stop, not like we'd do it for food, but to stop hair going in machines and things.
Yes.
So nothing would fall and get caught. Because I feel as if I've got this shoe factory and this connection around shoes that's coming in here. But I feel that although this lady is only like 5 foot, and I don't know how much you know of her, because I kind of feel she's been in the spirit world a long time, longer than possibly you've been here on the earth almost. Yeah, because I feel that if I look at the women in that part of the family, they're all small but strong.
Yes.
Okay, and literally, where she's talking about making shoes and boots and things, she could give anyone their marching orders quite easy.
All of them.
Okay, good. Okay, don't mess with the women in your household. But I know that as she's bringing this in, she's so. Is Minnie in the spirit world as well then?
No, Minnie's alive.
Minnie's alive. Okay, I'll find out why they're bringing up Minnie then, because she keeps saying about Minnie. Okay, she keeps saying about Minnie. Why are we talking about Minnie then? Tell me in a moment. Okay. So as she's showing me these things and she's showing me this, she's bringing in the strength that the women in that side of the family have. Okay, and she's bringing that strength around you and that support to you. Okay, and I know that as she talks about this, it's interesting. She's, you know, I don't know whether you know this, but you know when you would see people like Les Dawson and everything, how they do all of the very exaggerated mouthing movements of when they used to do Sissy and Ada.
With the head
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah, and you see, and they did that because when they were in the factories, they couldn't hear each other, so they had to enunciate like. And we all think it's gurning, but it's not. It's because they're talking over the sound of machines. And she's talking about, you know, that you sometimes you can't listen to things, but you have to try and pay attention to what's being heard. But sometimes what's in the mind is drowning out what's here, and so there's this sense of wanting to bring the stillness. I can almost hear like at the end of a factory day when the machines are turned off and you go from this din to this silence, and then about the machines being silent. And I know that with her and other members of the family, they suffered with the closing of the factories. This would be known to you, that certain members of the family would have found themselves no longer working as a result. Because I know there is this feeling from her that there is this need for this stillness. There is this need for this ability to go within and to listen, but also to listen to what's happening around you, to pay attention to what's around you, and to pay attention to what's going on within, and to know that the strength is there. Okay. Okay. Would you understand where this connection is, where you know the Minnie, or who Minnie is? Would you understand that there is a need to kind of give them a listening ear, to talk to them or to listen to them?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't spoken in a while, but he's a northerner.
Oh, okay. So maybe he would also understand a connection with this lady in the factory, because I keep having this feeling as if I want to reach out, I want to talk, but I'm going to need to listen. And you know how sometimes people, they give you clues to things when they're talking and say, oh, well, I'm fine really. It means I'm not fine at all. And there's a need to listen and to listen out for those things, okay? And talk to him, if you can and he's open to this stuff, talk to him about whether that description also would fit someone he knows, because I kind of feel there is just this closeness that comes in as well, okay? But I get this feeling of I need to reach out, I want to reach out, I must listen though, I must be prepared to listen, okay? Because it feels important. He's not a brother in arms, is he?
Yes, he is.
He is, okay. Because I was just saying, I just heard be there for brothers in arms.
That's it.
Okay, be there for brothers in arms. Okay, so let me leave her love and the love of the spirit world around you as well. What's that? Have you just found you've got a hole in a pocket and stuff's dropped out of your trousers?
Not that I know of.
Follow him afterwards. You might pick up an extra quid or two. So hang on a second. I've got a man here talking about holes in his pockets. And talking about holes in pockets. And I get the feeling, I think I've moved from you. I know we're near enough to time, but I just want to, I've got someone here and they're talking about, there's a gentleman and he's got this suit. And this is like, you know when blokes only have one suit and it gets drawn out for every single, weddings, funerals, christenings, there's only one suit, but this suit keeps getting repaired. And I keep having memories of repairing this suit and repairing the pockets because he was forever jangling money in his pockets and it damaged the pocket of the trousers. Does anyone understand that? Craig, I'm going to leave. I think you need to ask
Yeah.
to do with Minnie to do with this.
Right.
Because I've got this man and he's not got money, but he's got one suit.
Right.
And this one suit literally has seen him through decades.
Yeah.
And I kind of get the feeling that, you know, a bit like, you can remember Arkwright? What's wrong with this suit as he's trying to button it up like that? There's this feeling, and this will be a memory that I think will connect where Min's concerned, okay? But I get the feeling, if I talk about the money dropping out the pockets and things like that, but I think there's more significance to that, and I think that's maybe what you're going to find out when you talk, because I feel there's a hardship element that's there, and I need you to ask and find out. Okay, so let me leave him with you. Say God bless and give that love and that thing. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of both myself and those in the spirit world, I'd like to thank you for your love, your attention, your energy that makes those links possible, and know that the spirit world are only ever a thought away. That when we sit, when we think about them, when we're doing things like, you know, even going around and buying a bit of furniture, suddenly when we have thoughts of people, that's not always our thoughts wandering to them. It's them wandering to us. And so realising that they're there with us during our daily lives, even in some of the most mundane things, the other world are there and you can suddenly think of them. Don't just think, oh, why am I thinking of them? Maybe they're thinking of you. So I'll leave that with you and say good afternoon and God bless.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for a lovely service. Not too many catastrophes today, was there? So, technology. Never mind. Right, notices. A reminder to those that are doing the Darren Turner Psychism course. It's this Saturday. Sunday, 11 o'clock, service here is Ivor Holland, and doors open at 10:15 for healing. Wednesday, healing hour with Kevin Biggs, 3 o'clock. And Sunday the 5th, 11 a.m. Obviously, Lawrence has been going on. We have Jack Eckhart from Denmark, and doors open at 10:15. Online services, meditations on Saturday at 9 a.m. and Monday at 7 p.m. I nearly said 7 a.m. then. That's if you're up. And then coming Saturday, 7 p.m, Lyceum night with Monique Baker from the Netherlands. Music and mediumship. So that sounds interesting. So again, thank you for coming along and supporting the church. It is lovely here, and we do miss you, Laurie, because I know you're watching. Just to make sure that we do it all right, isn't it? So, and have a lovely time while you're away. So again, thank you everyone, and I'm going to ask Mark for the closing prayer.
Lovely. Thank you, Tony. So, ladies and gentlemen, once more, let's just close our eyes and open our hearts and minds in prayer. Gracious and divine Spirit, we thank you for this time that we have shared together. We thank you for the beautiful, inspiring touch of the other world that we have felt not only through communication, but also through that healing power and inspiration. And allow us to take the love, the healing and the power that we have gained here this afternoon, to take it with us into our daily lives, to allow us to shine that light of love, healing and inspiration upon everyone that we meet. Allow us that every time we meet someone, we leave them a little lighter, a little brighter, a little happier than when we first met them. Let us shine a light into this world that truly transforms lives, just as you do for ours. And so, as always, we thank you for this time that we have shared together, and we ask that you guard and guide us safely until we meet again. Amen.
Amen. Again, thank you again for joining us. And you know the say about spirit being around, I feel like Laurie sat here. God bless. Have a wonderful week till we see you again. Take care. Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you.